This is the process to change an air cleaner element or air filter on a 7P or second generation Volkswagen Touareg that was produced from about 2010 to 2018 with the V6 TDI engine in either the 150 kilowatt rating or 180 kilowatt rating. You're going to need a new air cleaner element. This is a Hengst brand, which is part number E732L. Might be a different part number with a different brand. You're going to need a pair of pliers. Regular pliers are okay, water pump pliers can make the job a bit easier. A torch or work light is handy, and this special tool, which happens to be made just from an old coat hanger, and that will become obvious why we need that later. The air filter element is located in the air box here on the right hand side of the vehicle next to the engine. Most manufacturers just use some of these clips to hold the air box together, and you just remove those to remove the to get the filter out. But on this vehicle, the process is more involved. Let me show you how. The first step is to remove this electrical connector on the outlet line from the airbox, and to do that, just reach underneath, feel for a little tab that you need to squeeze in, and then pull away on the connector. It really doesn't take much force. If you can't easily pull the connector away, then it means you haven't pushed the little tab in far enough. That's the tab there with the end of the screwdriver is on that you're trying to feel for. Just remove the pipe from the clip, then take your pair of pliers and squeeze the two ends of the clamp together, and while holding them together, grab this air tube and push it back against the concertina there to remove it, and then release the clamp back in the same spot where it was. If you move the clamp off of that ledge where it sits, either this way or completely remove it, then you'll definitely need water pump pliers to put it back on, because these pliers won't open far enough. Then remove this here. Now mine comes out a bit easier than it should, as normally there'd be a little rubber tab on there that you might have to squeeze in to get it back up through the hole, but get that out of the way, and then undo the two clips, and now the air cleaner lid should pull away from the top, and then you can lift it up and away out from the vehicle. The air filter element can come out now, and as you pull it out, just pay attention to which is the top and which is the bottom. They will go either way. It's ambidextrous in that regard, but what you're going to look for is on the bottom side to see if you've got any damage from water ingress or any evidence that the air filter has been wet, and in this case mine has. You can see there there's a bit of a wavy format to it, and it's even started degrading there. So this is a common problem with these vehicles, and it stems from water getting into the airbox and sitting in the bottom of the airbox there, and it comes through the air, or the air comes through the front of the grille here next to the right side headlight into what's called an air horn, which is just a plastic pipe which carries the air underneath this part of the metal frame or chassis into the airbox. And you can see, camera on the right angle there, that hole there is where the air comes into the airbox. And so there's two water drains. There's one in the bottom of the airbox in the center of frame there, and if that gets blocked, that can cause water to build up, so you want to make sure that that's not blocked. But also there is a drain down inside of the air horn, or the tube that runs between the front of the vehicle and the airbox, and that's where this special tool comes into play. So the drain in the plastic pipe or horn down here, I can pass my hand in that big hand and just feel the tips of my finger the drain, the edge of the drain hole. I can't do anything about it using my hand in there, and that's where this special tool is important. The distance from this edge down the pipe to the drain hole is, for reference, it's about the distance between the outside edges of the clips on top. So you need a piece of wire with a little bend in it. In this case, I've rounded off the end of this with a file just so it doesn't damage the little rubber drain plug or drain line. And what I'm going to do is pass that down in there, and if I get an idea of the distance, I should know, pass that down in there, and just, there we go, straight away it felt around, and I just pushed it down through the drain hole. And so now I can have some confidence that the drain hole isn't blocked. Pull up on that and remove it. If you want to run a test, you can pour some water down in there just to make sure it all drains out. Just make sure you don't get any back up into your airbox, or if you do, then just wipe it dry before you put your new filter element in. I'll just take a minute to reiterate the importance of keeping water out of the airbox and the filter. So obviously the cheapest outcome is that the water damages the filter, you catch it, and you need to buy yourself a new filter for $30 or $40. The next two outcomes are exponentially worse for your wallet and your back pocket, and that is that if this filter has a lot of water in it, or for an extended amount of time, the paper will actually all deteriorate. It gets sucked up through here and goes through, will take out a turbo. That's probably if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, the water paper and water that might get ingested up into the inlet there will hydrolock the engine, and that's a catastrophic failure that will require replacement of your engine. And in Australia at the moment, I'd say you're probably looking at about a $7,000 to $12,000 job to replace the engine, probably just with a second-hand one or a reconditioned one. So this is definitely something that you want to pay particular attention to. And there are plenty of stories online of people that have hydrolocked these engines from that, either through doing water forward or fording through deep water. So any water that comes up over here, large volumes of water entering next to the headlight there, that little drain isn't going to be able to get rid of it, and it's going to end up in the engine. Even if that drain gets blocked, heavy rain coming and will come off the front of the bonnet and get taken in there. And if the drain's blocked, then that's all going through into the airbox and potentially into the engine. Now to put it back together, slide your air filter element in. Personally, it doesn't matter which way they go, but now to put it back together, slide your air filter element in. Doesn't matter which way it goes, but I personally prefer to have the label and part number facing up, so it's easy to identify it next time. Make sure you got the right part. So push it into the box there. Now you want to pay particular attention at the bottom. There's little tabs here, 1, 2, 3 along the outside, so it should be inboard of those, and then you really want to make sure it's pushed in firm at the bottom, nice and snug, and up the sides, ready for the lid to go on. So just this is where a torch is handy. You're just making sure that there's a good amount of clearance between these tabs at the bottom and the filter housing there. That's really got to be pushed in tight. That's where even I've seen dealers do it wrong, and they haven't been able to get the lid on properly and have damaged the filter. So you take your lid, and this is the bottom. These little sets of prongs here going in next to the tabs at the bottom, in through the holes that were near the screwdriver that I just pointed out. And these tabs, little wings on the side, one there and one there, go down either side of the base of the air cleaner box. Slide the cover back down, so little prongs at the bottom. Slide it back down roughly in place until we can get this outlet line back on. So lined up on there, pliers to compress our clamp, and that's back in. Yep, that's all back on. Now that back on, now it's a bit easier to get this into position. Now we're making sure that the fins are going down either side, and the locator tabs are locking into the holes in the bottom on all sides. If these little clips come off, just push the box away, put them under, and lift them up. It's a little bit of wiggling to get it all into position. There we go. So you can see that the bottom is in, the sides are in, and the gap is closed up at the top here. So the lid sort of falls in underneath the base here, and that can go on. And then I'll shine a torch down, and I just want to make sure the base is properly clipped in. It is, down each side. Now make sure that this pipe is all the way on, and then if you need to, just rotate it that your the opening of that clamp is aligned roughly with the electrical connector. I think that's where it's supposed to be. Then we can clip this line back in. If you need to, just pull down hard on that to pull it through if it's not already broken like mine. Reach down, grab the electrical connector. Remember the side with the little tab goes on the bottom. Slide that back in and click it into place. The job is complete.